If you're over 60, there's one daily habit that might seem healthy but could silently increase your risk of stroke without any warning signs. You could go to bed feeling perfectly fine and wake up unable to speak, unable to move, or worse, never wake up at all. I'm not talking about fast food or smoking. I'm talking about fruit, the very thing you've always been told is good for your heart, your brain, and your body. But after working with older adults for more than 30 years, I've seen firsthand the serious risks of eating the wrong fruits, especially for people taking blood pressure medication, blood thinners, or those with even mild kidney issues. Today, I am going to reveal 9 common fruits that might look harmless but could trigger dangerously low blood pressure, brain bleeds, or blood clots during sleep, especially if you're over 65. If you've always believed that fruit is always safe, this might be a wake-up call. What I'm about to share could save your life. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more important health tips. If you find this content helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, feel free to type 0. Let's begin with the first one: bananas. They may seem like a heart-healthy choice, but for some people over 65, eating bananas, especially at the wrong time, can quietly increase the risk of stroke. Bananas are high in potassium, a mineral that helps your kidneys remove excess sodium and lower blood pressure. That's good if your body and your medications are in balance. Here's the problem: many older adults with high blood pressure take medications like ACE inhibitors, diuretics, or beta blockers. All of these affect potassium levels, or how the body processes potassium. If you eat bananas while on these medications, especially before bedtime, it can increase your risk of overnight low blood pressure. This condition, called nighttime hypotension, can be dangerous. During deep sleep, your body slows down and may not adjust to changes in blood pressure as quickly. That can mean reduced blood flow to your brain, raising the risk of a silent stroke. You might wake up feeling confused, slurring your words, or unable to get out of bed. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Charles, 78 years old, from Ohio. He was very careful with his diet and daily routine. Every night, he'd add half a banana to a cup of chamomile tea as a way to relax before bed. He thought it was a healthy habit, but had no idea that his blood pressure medication, combined with the potassium in bananas, was silently triggering a dangerous reaction in his body. One morning, his wife found him unconscious in his recliner, half his body numb and unable to speak. It was a mild stroke, but the long-term effects were serious. Not from stress or smoking, but from a fruit he trusted and ate every day. When we ran tests, we found his potassium levels were unusually high, and his blood pressure had dropped significantly during the night. The main cause: his nightly banana routine. He was devastated. "I thought I was doing something good for my health," he told me with a heavy voice. "I didn't know I was putting myself in danger." And the truth is, many older adults don't realize this. After age 65, kidney function starts to decline. Blood vessels become less flexible, and the heart becomes much more sensitive. What used to be safe at age 40 or 50 can become a real risk by the time you're 70, especially when your food begins to interact more strongly with medications. So if you're taking blood pressure meds, diuretics, or heart medications, avoid eating bananas at night. If you still want to enjoy them, eat them in the morning when your body is more alert and better able to regulate blood pressure. And always let your doctor know how often you're eating high potassium foods. Something that seems harmless can become dangerous, especially during the most vulnerable time of the day while you're asleep. Sadly, this is just the beginning. If a single banana can carry this much hidden risk, wait until you hear about a fruit that can thin your blood so much it may cause a brain bleed without showing a single warning sign. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, type 1 in the comments so I know you're here. Now let's move on to the second fruit: grapes. Small and sweet, but this seemingly innocent fruit can cause sudden spikes in blood pressure. Grapes sweet juicy and often found on the healthy snack list for many older adults. But what if I told you that these tiny fruits could quietly disrupt your blood pressure and in some cases trigger a dangerous chain reaction in the brain? After more than 3 decades of treating older patients, I've learned one important truth: it's not always the obvious culprits, like salt or fat, that pose the biggest threats to senior health. Sometimes it's the trusted, everyday foods things we've snacked on our whole lives that quietly become harmful. Grapes are a perfect example. For some people over 65, this seemingly innocent fruit can turn into a hidden danger. Let me explain. Grapes are high in natural sugar fructose and also contain resveratrol, a compound often praised for its heart benefits. But for older adults, taking blood thinners like warfarin aspirin or Plavix grapes may carry serious risks. Why? Because resveratrol also acts as a natural blood thinner. When combined with medications, it can thin the blood too much beyond what your doctor can safely monitor. When that happens, even a tiny blood vessel in the brain can rupture, leading to a hemorrhagic stroke, a dangerous form of stroke caused by internal bleeding in the brain. This risk becomes even higher when grapes are eaten at night because your blood pressure naturally drops during sleep. The combination of overly thin blood and low nighttime blood pressure creates the perfect storm for brain injury. I'll never forget Mrs. Evelyn Harper, 82 years old, a retired teacher from Virginia. She was cheerful, independent, and always kept a bowl of red grapes by her recliner. They help with digestion, she used to joke. Better than cookies. She was also on a low-dose aspirin prescribed by her doctor to support blood circulation. One night, she was jolted awake by a splitting headache like a bolt of lightning. Then came vomiting, confusion, and panic. Her daughter rushed her to the hospital. The CT scan stunned everyone. She had suffered a brain bleed, not from high blood pressure, not from a fall, but from blood that had become too thin. When the doctors reviewed her routine, the truth came out. Her nightly grape habit had unknowingly boosted the blood-thinning effects of her aspirin. While her condition was treated in time, her ability to speak and maintain balance never fully returned. Today, Mrs. Evelyn can no longer walk or read on her own. Every time I visit, she looks at me with a sad smile and says, "I thought I was taking care of my heart. I didn't know I was harming my brain." It's heartbreaking, but it's also something many older adults don't fully realize. Even healthy-looking foods can create powerful chemical reactions in the body. And when you're on medications that affect your blood pressure, blood clotting, or vascular system, the margin of safety gets much narrower. Your body changes dramatically after age 65. The liver processes medications more slowly. Blood vessels weaken, and things that used to be harmless may no longer be a good fit for your system. So, if you eat grapes regularly and take any blood-thinning medication, including over-the-counter aspirin, talk to your doctor. You might not need to cut grapes out completely, but when you eat them, how much and how they interact with your medications can make the difference between protecting your health and putting it at risk. If you've ever felt dizzy after eating grapes or had a sudden headache after a seemingly harmless nighttime snack, that might be your body sending a warning. But grapes aren't the last sweet trap to be aware of. The next fruit is even more dangerous because it shows up everywhere as soon as summer hits. It's cool, juicy, and widely loved. But it can cause your blood vessels to suddenly expand, then contract, setting the stage for a silent stroke before sunrise. You'll want to pay close attention to this next part. Fruit number 3, watermelon. Its sweet, refreshing taste and harmless appearance make watermelon a staple at summer gatherings, from backyard barbecues to retirement picnics to church socials. Its bright red color and crisp bite bring back childhood memories of fun and safety. But here's what most people don't know behind a H. That pleasant sweetness is the potential to destabilize blood pressure, especially dangerous for older adults who eat it in the evening. Many of my senior patients have told me they enjoy a few slices after dinner, not realizing that this innocent habit could be putting their brain at risk while they sleep. It helps keep me hydrated, many of my patients often say about watermelon. And they're right, watermelon is made up of about 90% water, making it a great source of hydration. But what most people don't realize is that watermelon is also rich in citrulline, an amino acid that once inside the body is converted into nitric oxide. This compound causes blood vessels to relax and widen. At first glance, that might sound like a good thing. Better blood flow means better circulation, right? But here's where the risk starts, especially for people over 65. At night, your blood pressure naturally drops as part of your body's circadian rhythm to help you rest. But if you eat a large amount of watermelon before bed, as many people do since it feels light and cooling, you may unknowingly intensify that blood vessel dilation. The result? Your blood pressure can drop too low, leading to nighttime hypotension, a condition that's more dangerous than most people think. The brain is especially sensitive to this. When it doesn't receive enough oxygen-rich blood, it can trigger a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke, or even a full-blown stroke, all while you're asleep. I remember one patient, Mr. Anthony Reyes, age 74, a retired high school baseball coach living in New Mexico. He was active, walked every day, and never missed a checkup. But one summer morning, his wife found him collapsed on the bathroom floor. He was awake, but his speech was slurred, and one side of his body was weak. At the hospital, doctors confirmed he had suffered a stroke. But what surprised everyone was that he had no high cholesterol, no diabetes, and wasn't overweight. When I asked about his eating habits, he said, "I have a big bowl of watermelon every night. Helps me sleep and stay cool." He was also taking a low-dose calcium channel blocker to manage mild blood pressure. It was the combination of that medication, the strong vasodilation effects of the citrulline in watermelon, and the natural nighttime drop in blood pressure that caused a shortage of blood to the brain, leading to a stroke during his sleep. Although Mr. Anthony recovered, he could no longer drive, and his short-term memory was clearly affected. I still remember him looking at me and saying, "Doctor, I thought I was living healthy. I never imagined something so simple could lead to this." That's exactly what I want every older adult in America to understand. At this stage of life, your body becomes more sensitive to small changes, whether it's in blood sugar, blood pressure, or even hydration levels. Foods you once digested easily in your 40s or 50s can now cause unexpected side effects. Watermelon is a clear example. When consumed in large amounts or eaten at night, it can cause your blood pressure to drop to dangerously low levels during sleep, increasing the risk of serious brain damage. So, what should you do? If you enjoy watermelon, have it during the day when your body is alert and better able to regulate blood pressure. Keep your portions moderate, and if you're taking any medications that affect blood vessels or blood pressure, such as ACE inhibitors, diuretics, or beta blockers, talk with your doctor about the safest times to eat certain fruits. Because when it comes to stroke prevention, what you eat matters, but when you eat, it can be just as important. But if you think watermelon is the last item on this list, think again. The next fruit, bright yellow tropical in flavor and often blended into morning smoothies, might be quietly interfering with your body's ability to clot blood. In serious cases, it can even lead to a brain bleed with no warning at all. This is something you absolutely shouldn't overlook. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, drop a 1 in the comments so I know you're still with me. Now let's move on to the fourth fruit, pineapple. A fruit that can disrupt your blood's ability to clot and carry a hidden risk of brain hemorrhage. Pineapple feels like a vacation in every bite. sweet, refreshing, and full of tropical charm. It brings back memories of summer picnics, family beach trips, and backyard parties. Many people over 65 see it as a healthy choice. And for some in moderation, it can be. What many older adults don't realize is that pineapple contains a powerful enzyme called bromelain, and if you're not careful, especially when taking heart or blood-related medications, this enzyme could quietly lead you toward a serious brain bleed. Bromelain is naturally found in fresh pineapple, especially in the core. While it's well known for its anti-inflammatory effects and often used in supplements for arthritis and joint pain, here's the key concern: bromelain also acts as a natural blood thinner, similar to aspirin or warfarin. It can slow down your body's ability to clot blood. That might sound helpful for people with heart disease, but if you're already taking blood thinners like Plavix, Eliquis, Coumadin, or even low-dose aspirin, this combination can become dangerously potent. When the blood becomes too thin, even a minor bump or a fragile blood vessel in the brain can rupture, and that alone is enough to cause a hemorrhagic stroke. Sudden, silent, and often leaving behind irreversible damage. I'll never forget Mrs. Lorraine Brooks, age 79, a retired choir director in Georgia. She was sharp, passionate about music, and had a cheerful morning routine, slicing fresh pineapple into her yogurt each day, believing it helped her digestion and eased joint pain. But she was also on Plavix, prescribed after a mild heart attack 2 years earlier. One morning, shortly after breakfast, she felt dizzy, slurred her words, and began losing her balance. Thankfully, her daughter happened to be visiting and rushed her to the ER. A CT scan revealed a brain hemorrhage. Not from a fall, not from high blood pressure, but because her blood had become too thin to clot when needed. When we reviewed her diet, everything clicked into place. Her daily intake of fresh pineapple combined with her blood thinner had gradually altered her blood chemistry until one tiny blood vessel in her brain couldn't hold up any longer. She survived, but not without consequences. Today, she walks with a cane, and the voice that once led choirs with clarity and strength is now soft, hesitant, and slow. "I thought I was just eating something fresh. Something healing," Mrs. Lorraine said through tears. "No one ever warned me that fruit could be dangerous like this." And she's not alone. Many older adults believe that if something is natural, it must be safe. But at this stage of life, it's no longer just about what you eat. It's about how it interacts with everything else in your body: your medications, your age, kidney function, blood pressure, heart rhythm. All of these become more sensitive over time. This isn't about fear. It's about biological reality. So if you're taking blood thinners or heart medications, I strongly urge you to be cautious with pineapple, especially fresh pineapple or concentrated juice. Talk to your doctor, monitor your health markers, and pay attention to the quiet signals your body sends. Sometimes the body whispers before it screams. If you've ever had lingering headaches after a healthy smoothie, noticed unexplained bruising, frequent nosebleeds, or felt unusually tired for no clear reason, your blood may be thinner than it should be. And whether you believe it or not, this list isn't over yet. The next fruit, with its golden skin and tropical sweetness, often labeled a superfood, may actually be hiding a sugar bomb. One that can spike your insulin strain, your arteries, and silently increase your stroke risk, especially if eaten at night. Let me tell you about it. Fruit number 5. Mango. Mangoes are naturally high in sugar and can cause sudden spikes in blood pressure and insulin levels. A ripe mango is hard to resist: smooth yellow skin, sweet and tender flesh, and a scent that brings back memories of summer vacations, quiet afternoons, or childhood treats. Many older adults I've met choose mangoes as a healthier dessert, thinking at least it's better than cake. But the truth is more complicated than that. Mangoes are rich in vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants but behind that golden glow lies a hidden risk that many older adults don't see coming. Mango is one of the fruits with the highest natural sugar content, and that can become a serious issue for anyone over 65, especially those managing blood pressure or blood sugar levels. Scientifically speaking, just 1 cup of sliced mango can contain over 45 grams of natural sugar, more than a can of soda. When you eat mango, especially a ripe one, your blood sugar can spike rapidly. For younger people, the pancreas responds quickly, releasing enough insulin to bring things back into balance. But in older adults, that response slows down. Many are already in a state of insulin resistance without even knowing it, even if they've never been diagnosed with diabetes. And that's when mango transforms from a sweet treat into a silent threat. When blood sugar spikes, blood pressure often follows. Excess sugar increases heart rate and causes blood vessels to constrict. It damages the endothelium, the thin lining inside your arteries, making them weaker and stiffer over time, especially the small vessels in the brain. A sudden blood sugar surge, especially at night after eating mango for dessert, can become the tipping point for a minor stroke or something far worse. I remember Mr. Harold Davis, 76, a retired factory worker in Michigan. He lived alone after his wife passed. Gentle, quiet, with a simple habit, every evening after dinner, he would slice open a mango and eat it right off the skin with a spoon. That sweet ritual gave him a small moment of peace. His doctor had warned him he was pre-diabetic, but Harold didn't think much of it. He wasn't on insulin, and his blood pressure seemed stable. But one morning, Harold woke up with blurry vision and a pounding headache. When he tried to stand, he collapsed. Hours passed before a neighbor found him lying unconscious on the floor. When Mr. Harold was taken to the hospital, he had trouble speaking and couldn't move his left hand. It wasn't a full-blown stroke, but the doctors diagnosed him with a transient ischemic attack. TIA, often called a warning stroke. Tests showed that his blood sugar had surged overnight, causing his blood pressure to rise sharply as well. And when I asked about his eating habits, he immediately mentioned mangoes. "I thought it was good for me," he said, visibly shaken. "No one ever told me something like that could do this to me." And that's the sad truth. We grow up believing fruit is always healthy. But at this stage in life, the issue isn't whether something is natural, it's whether your body can still process it safely. Your metabolism slows down, your arteries lose flexibility. Things that were once harmless can now pose real risks to your brain. So what should you do if you love mangoes? Don't panic, but do stay informed. Control your portions. Enjoy mangoes during the day when your body is more active and better able to handle sugar. Avoid eating them after dinner or right before bed. And if you're managing blood pressure, are pre-diabetic, or are taking medications for your heart or blood sugar, talk to your doctor before making mango a regular part of your diet. A sweet moment should never come at the cost of long-term independence. And mangoes aren't the last healthy trap on this list, because the next fruit, often praised for aiding weight loss and digestion, can actually damage fragile blood vessels in the brain, especially if you're on medication or often feel lightheaded. You might be surprised to learn just how common and potentially dangerous it is. Let's talk about it now. Number 6. Oranges and grapefruits. Two fruits that seem completely harmless, but aren't always good for an older heart. For many people, oranges and grapefruits are symbols of health. A glass of orange juice in the morning or half a grapefruit for breakfast has long been associated with simple, traditional wellness. Many older adults turn to these fruits to boost vitamin C, enjoy a refreshing taste, and feel like they're strengthening their immunity or protecting their heart. But here's something very few people are ever warned about, not even in health programs or nutritional ads for older adults. Oranges, and especially grapefruit, can quietly interfere with many common medications, putting the brain at serious risk. The danger isn't in the fruit itself, but in what happens when it interacts with medications that many seniors take every day. Drugs for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, irregular heart rhythm, and blood thinners. All of these can be affected. Grapefruit in particular contains a compound called furanocoumarin, which interferes with liver enzymes responsible for breaking down medications. That means the drugs don't get metabolized properly, so they stay in your system longer and at higher levels than intended, and you might have no idea it's happening. Imagine this. You take your meds on time, start your morning with a slice of grapefruit or a glass of orange juice thinking you're making a healthy choice. But inside your body, your blood pressure could plummet, your statin levels might rise beyond the safe range, or your blood could become too thin to clot when needed. These changes often have no obvious symptoms until they result in dizziness, confusion, a brain bleed, or even a full-blown stroke, often striking in the middle of the night when no one is watching. And let me be clear, this isn't theory. I've seen it firsthand more than once in my own clinic. One case you'll never forget is Mrs. Caroline Mitchell, 80 years old, a retired nurse from Tennessee. She was disciplined, sharp, and kept a peaceful morning routine. Take her blood pressure meds, statins, and low-dose aspirin, then sit by the window with her Bible, a glass of grapefruit juice, and a piece of toast. For her, that was daily peace. But one afternoon, her daughter found her slumped in a chair, dizzy, slurring her speech. She hadn't fallen, but her blood pressure had dropped to a dangerous level. A CT scan revealed a minor brain hemorrhage. When we reviewed her medications and lab results, it became clear her statin levels had built up far beyond safe limits. The reason grapefruit had blocked her liver from breaking the drug down properly. The statin toxicity strained her blood vessels and triggered bleeding in her brain. She looked at me and said quietly, "I've done this for years. No one ever told me grapefruit could hurt me." It's true most older adults are never warned about the risks of food-drug interactions. They believe that taking their medication and eating fruit are healthy habits. But at age 70 or 80, the liver filters more slowly. Blood vessels are more fragile, and medication doses are carefully balanced. Just one fruit at the wrong time can throw everything off. If you're taking statins like Lipitor or Zocor, calcium channel blockers like amlodipine blood thinners, or medications for anxiety or heart rhythm disorders, you should avoid grapefruit unless your doctor has told you it's safe. Even orange juice, if consumed in excess, can affect how your medications work. If you've ever felt unusually dizzy in the morning, experienced a rapid heartbeat for no clear reason, or noticed more frequent bruising, your body might be quietly sounding the alarm. Knowledge is power. Preventing illness doesn't come from fear, it comes from clear, informed awareness. You're never too old to make small adjustments that protect your brain. Sometimes a simple switch from grapefruit to berries can lower your risk of life-changing complications. Speaking of berries, let's talk about one that's constantly praised in health magazines, added to breakfast bowls, and featured on every superfood list across America. But what's rarely mentioned is the downside. This fruit can slow your heart rate, interfere with blood thinners, and put your brain at risk, especially when eaten in large amounts. You need to hear this. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, type 1 below, so I know you're still with me. Now let's move on to number 7. Blueberries, the famous superfood that may slow your heart rate and affect blood clotting. Blueberries are everywhere in oatmeal smoothies and headlines encouraging older adults to eat them for brain health. And that makes sense. They're low in calories, high in antioxidants, and full of flavor. Many seniors turn to blueberries as a smart dietary choice. But here's the truth for some people over 65. Eating too many blueberries, especially while on medication, can backfire. As a neurologist who has treated thousands of older patients, I've seen even the healthiest foods disrupt the body's delicate balance and led to unexpected consequences. Blueberries contain high levels of salicylates, a natural compound that acts similarly to aspirin by thinning the blood. Blueberries contain salicylates, a compound known for reducing inflammation and thinning the blood. Sounds like a good thing, right? But what happens if you're already taking blood thinners like warfarin Plavix, Xarelto, or even a daily low-dose aspirin, or if you're living with a condition like atrial fibrillation? In those cases, your blood can become too thin, crossing the line from helpful to hazardous. Your heart rate may drop unexpectedly, and if your brain is already vulnerable, whether from age, fragile blood vessels, or a past TIA, a sudden brain bleed can occur. No trauma, no warning signs, just one superfood too many. I think of Mr. Dean Wallace, 81, a retired Air Force veteran from Colorado, independent, active, and deeply committed to his health. Every morning after his walk, he blended a smoothie with blueberries, almond milk, spinach, and protein powder, a mix he believed would keep his mind sharp. What he didn't realize was that the blueberries, combined with his warfarin, were slowly tipping his blood-clotting balance too far. One morning, he got out of bed and collapsed. No warning. His speech was slurred and his vision was doubled. A scan confirmed it, a mild hemorrhagic stroke. His blood had become too thin to stop a small vessel in the brain from bursting. When we reviewed his records, the signs were already there. His INR levels had been creeping up for months. A nurse had mentioned limiting leafy greens, but no one had ever told him that fruit like blueberries could also affect his medication. Thankfully, he recovered. But later, he told me I thought I was staying ahead of my age. I never imagined my morning smoothie was a gamble with my own health. And that's the heart of it. At this stage in life, your body processes food and medication very differently than it did decades ago. What once helped you might now hurt you if you're not careful. This isn't about fearing food. It's about understanding and respecting how your body has changed. If you love blueberries, you don't need to give them up completely. But be mindful of portion sizes, avoid mixing them with other blood-thinning foods or supplements, and always let your doctor know about your dietary habits. Because even the most healthy foods can quietly disrupt your treatment plan without you ever realizing it. And blueberries aren't the end of the story. There's another familiar fruit, crisp clean, and often seen as a symbol of health, that can actually cause your blood pressure to drop too low, leading to dizziness, weakness, or even fainting. Number 8, apples. From childhood, we've all heard. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And for older adults, apples are a convenient, easy-to-digest snack. But what many people don't realize is that apples, especially the skin, contain a plant compound called quercetin. Quercetin helps lower blood pressure by relaxing blood vessels and improving circulation. In younger people, this is a benefit. But if you're already taking blood pressure medications, the added effect of quercetin can push your pressure too low, especially at night. That increases the risk of fainting or reduced blood flow to the brain while you sleep. When blood pressure dips too low during the night, when it's already at its lowest naturally, it raises the risk of nocturnal hypotension, leading to decreased oxygen supply to the brain. In the worst-case scenario, this could trigger a stroke while you sleep. Most people would never suspect apples because they look so harmless. But I once saw exactly this happen to Mr. Leonard Briggs, age 84, a retired accountant from Iowa. He lived alone, followed a careful daily routine, and had previously suffered a mild stroke, so he never skipped his medication. Every night, he would eat a Fuji apple with a glass of water before watching the news, believing it helped with digestion and sleep. But one morning, he didn't show up for his usual coffee visit. A staff member found him awake but confused and unable to sit up. At the hospital, his blood pressure was dangerously low, and a brain scan revealed signs of a mild stroke due to reduced blood flow. Looking back, it became clear the quercetin from his nightly apple combined with his calcium channel blocker had caused his blood pressure to plunge too deeply during the night. He had done everything he thought was right, but the interaction between food and medication quietly put his brain at risk. Thankfully, he recovered, though his short-term memory and reading ability were noticeably affected. "I never thought an apple could do that," he said. And that's the important lesson here. At this age, no food is completely harmless. Everything interacts with a body that's slowing down with medications and with a cardiovascular system that's more fragile than it once was. If you enjoy apples, by all means continue to eat them, but do it smartly, have them during the day, especially if you're on blood pressure medication. If you've ever felt dizzy when getting out of bed in the morning, or noticed blurred vision for a few seconds, your blood pressure may have dropped too low during the night. It's worth talking to your doctor because something as simple as a piece of fruit or a plant compound, like a flavonoid, might be quietly affecting how your medications work. And if you thought the list of surprising fruits ended with apples, there's still one more name to know. This fruit is tart, brightly colored, and often added to detox water or part of a morning hydration routine. But for older adults, especially those taking blood thinners or with kidney issues, it can quietly push the body into a danger zone without warning. That fruit is lemon. It sounds simple, refreshing, and natural, but it can silently disrupt your body's chemical balance, especially as you age. Lemon has long been seen as a symbol of cleansing. Many older patients I've met squeeze it into their water to aid digestion, boost energy, or lift their mood. But for people over 65 who are on medications or dealing with reduced kidney function, lemon can cause unexpected effects. Lemons are high in citric acid and vitamin C. While these might seem harmless, they can increase absorption and amplify the effects of certain medications, pushing your system beyond what an aging body can safely handle. This means blood thinners. Blood pressure medications, and even anti-inflammatory or pain relievers, can become more potent than intended without any obvious signs at first. And that's not the only concern. Many older adults drink lemon water throughout the day to stay hydrated, not realizing that the high citric acid content can quietly place strain on the kidneys, especially in those with early-stage kidney disease that hasn't yet been diagnosed. As kidneys age, their ability to filter waste and handle medication slows down. Adding acidic compounds on top of that can lead to electrolyte imbalances, blood pressure changes, even irregular heart rhythms or increased stroke risk. I once treated Mrs. Helen Crawford, 77, a retired elementary school teacher from South Carolina. Kind, cheerful, and always carrying a jar of lemon water. After reading that lemon could detox the body and sharpen focus, she started drinking it 3 times a day. She was also taking a beta blocker and blood thinner following a mild stroke. No one had ever told her that lemon could affect how her medications were absorbed. One afternoon, while reading a book, Mrs. Helen suddenly felt dizzy. Her vision blurred and she struggled to speak. Her daughter rushed her to the hospital. Tests confirmed she had suffered a mild hemorrhagic stroke. Her blood had become too thin to clot in time because her medication had become too potent. Lemon water didn't directly cause the stroke, but it amplified the effect of her medication to a dangerous level. While recovering, Mrs. Helen told me I thought I was doing something good. And that's the hard truth, not because of the lemon itself, but because of what it triggered inside a body that's changing with age. As we grow older, everything shifts. The liver metabolizes drugs more slowly. The kidneys process acids less efficiently. Blood vessels become more fragile, and medications are often tightly dosed. A small change like drinking lemon water daily or using lemon-based supplements can tip that balance. So if you're taking heart medications, blood pressure meds, or anything supporting kidney function, talk with your doctor or pharmacist. And if you notice symptoms like dizziness, headaches, ringing in the ears, or fatigue without a clear reason, don't brush them off. That may be your body's way of telling you that something healthy might no longer be the right fit. Now we've gone through 9 familiar fruits, each one seemingly harmless, but all capable of becoming risky, depending on your age, your medications, and your overall health. You might be wondering, so what should I do? How do I protect my brain, my heart, and my independence? That question is the beginning of a new chapter. One that could change how you look at eating for health after 60. It's normal to feel overwhelmed after learning that even fruits can be risky. You're not alone. Many of my older patients did all the right things, ate fruit, drank juice, stayed active, took their meds on time. But no one ever told them that as their bodies changed with age, the very things that once helped them could start to turn against them. So the real question is, what can you do to nourish your brain and body after age 65 without falling into the trap of old habits? Let me share what I always tell every patient who sits across from me. Feeling confused, anxious, or disappointed is completely understandable, but you don't need to fear food, you just need to respect it. At this stage, your body isn't fragile, but it runs on a delicate balance. Your kidneys filter more slowly, your liver processes drugs differently, and your blood vessels are more sensitive to pressure, sugar, and changes in clotting. That means everything you put into your body. Fruit drinks, medications has a much bigger impact now than it did when you were in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s. Take Mrs. Diana Clean, age 82, a retired librarian from Pennsylvania. She came to see me after experiencing unexplained dizziness, early morning headaches, and one frightening moment of sudden memory loss while getting dressed. She didn't have diabetes. Her blood pressure was mostly stable. She ate what she believed was a very healthy diet, lots of fruit, she told me. Every day she drank a green smoothie with kale, blueberries, banana, and mango, just like the health blogs recommended. But her lab results said otherwise: elevated potassium, excessively thin blood, and very low nighttime blood pressure. The culprit wasn't fast food or processed snacks. It was natural fruit consumed in excess without balance and at the wrong time of day. We didn't ban fruit, we just adjusted her routine. Eat earlier in the day. Reduce high sugar, high potassium fruits. Drink more water. And add healthy fats for better nutrient absorption. Within weeks, her dizziness disappeared. She slept better and her mind felt clearer. She told me something you'll never forget. I thought I was doing everything right. I just didn't realize how much my body had changed. And that is the most important truth of all. Most older Americans are never clearly told this. Your health isn't just about what you eat, it's also about when you eat it, how you eat it, and what medications you're taking. So here are 5 key reminders that every adult over 65 should consider starting today. 1. Rethink your relationship with fruit. Fruit isn't good or bad, it's powerful. Limit high sugar options like mango, grapes, and bananas. Eat smaller portions and favor morning hours, especially if you're on blood pressure or blood sugar medications. 2. Know your medications. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which fruits or juices might interact with your prescriptions. Grapefruit, blueberries, and lemons are often overlooked but can strongly affect how medications work. 3. Time your meals wisely. Avoid large portions of fruit in the evening. Your blood pressure and heart rate naturally drop at night, and fruit can amplify or disrupt those changes. 4. Don't ignore subtle symptoms. Dizziness, confusion, fatigue, unusual bruising. These could be your body's quiet warnings that a healthy fruit isn't a safe match for your current medication. 5. Talk to your doctor. Natural doesn't always mean safe. A doctor can help tailor your eating habits to your medication health conditions and long-term brain protection goals. You don't need to be afraid of food. You just need to be more thoughtful. Your body isn't fragile, but it now operates on a finer balance. And when you respect that balance, you're not just preventing illness, you're protecting your independence, your clarity, and the life you want to keep living. What matters most here isn't fear, it's understanding. You are not powerless on this journey. You can still enjoy food, support your memory, and protect your independence as long as you're smarter than the marketing and more attentive to your body than ever before. And there's still one more factor, the missing piece most people overlook. What if I told you that the best way to protect your brain doesn't come from a pill, and not even from food, but from something simple, essential, and shockingly underconsumed by most older adults every day? Let's uncover the real foundation of brain health and how one small change can make a huge difference in your future. This is the quiet power of awareness. That's what will protect your brain. If you're feeling surprised, concerned, maybe even afraid right now, that's completely normal. You're not overreacting. You're not being dramatic. In fact, you're doing something very few people over 65 take the time to do. You're listening, you're learning, and you're waking up. For years, you've been encouraged to trust familiar habits. You were prescribed medications with the promise of peace of mind. You chose fruits and vitamins marketed as natural and good for the heart and brain. But no one ever told you that your body would change profoundly over time, that what helped you at 40 might silently harm you at 70. That change is not a failure. It's a reminder to slow down, ask better questions, and observe your body as it is now, not as it used to be. Because your brain, the center of your memory, your personality, and your independence deserves care that is precise, informed, and never based on guesswork. In my decades as a neurologist, I've seen strokes steal more than the ability to walk or speak. They've taken away freedom, identity, and dignity. And the saddest part is many of those strokes didn't come from smoking or recklessness. They came from small things. A well-meant habit, a bowl of fruit at night, a new supplement, a small repeated oversight ignored because it seemed too innocent to question. But you are questioning, and that's where protection begins. And that's exactly why I need you to hear this natural doesn't mean harmless. And starting today, let knowledge be your first line of defense against consequences that are completely preventable. Harmless doesn't mean it's still right for your body. Your body has changed. Your metabolism has slowed. Your kidneys filter less efficiently. Your liver processes medications more slowly. And your blood vessels, once flexible and strong, are now more fragile, more easily damaged. Your brain. One of the most complex systems in the human body is now more sensitive than ever to swings in blood pressure, blood sugar spikes, and changes in clotting balance. Just one piece of fruit at the wrong time or the wrong combination with medication can undo everything you've worked carefully to protect in just minutes. But here's what matters most. You are not powerless. In fact, you are now more powerful than ever because you know something that many people your age have never been told. You've seen the risks. You've heard real stories, people who thought they were doing the right thing until it wasn't right anymore. And now you understand the real damage doesn't only come from the stroke itself. It comes from the silence before it, the years when no one warned you. But that changes now. Now you know. And that changes everything. You can now talk more clearly with your doctor. You can look at a plate of fruit or a bottle of juice and ask, is this still right for my body? The answer might be yes, it might be no. But what truly matters is that you've started asking the question, and maybe, just maybe, the biggest change won't come from a pill or a new diet plan. It will come from within you. From shifting away from blind trust and becoming a proactive guardian of your brain health. That's what I hope you'll take from this message. Not fear, not confusion, but ownership. This is your brain. This is your life. And now you're in charge. Your brain health isn't set in stone. It's being written day by day through the choices you make, what you eat, the questions you dare to ask, and the attention you give to even the smallest signals from your body. So take this moment, pause, reflect, and begin to take action with clarity, awareness, and respect for the body you live in today. Start looking at your daily habits through a new lens, one that sees your routines not as fixed, but as opportunities to protect and support your brain. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you do have to begin, because your brain is still writing your story. And the next chapter can be clearer, stronger, and more vibrant if you decide today to rise up and protect it. This might be the brave first step you've been waiting for. It's never too old. It's never too late. And above all, you're not alone. We are walking this path together. We are not fighting aging. We are fighting ignorance and neglect with knowledge, compassion, and inner strength. Everything you've just heard wasn't meant to scare you. It was meant to empower you, to help you live more fully, more clearly, and more intentionally in the years to come. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment and think about one thing you've learned today and how you plan to put it into action. Drop a comment below. Type 1 if you found this video helpful, or 0 if you didn't agree. Your feedback means the world to us. And if you want to keep receiving thoughtful, life-changing content like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. Keep living life on your terms with awareness, courage, and daily intention.